like the music.
Yeah, can you hear it? I can
Yeah,
never
I
hear the
like
music
it.
for some reason. You're like, that's good. I can never
Yeah,
hear for some reason, but if I hear when you play it back. So
awesome.
happy Wednesday, and what a Wednesday this is going to be. Well, it is time again for the Imperfect Action live stream. If you were wondering what you're watching, that's it. It's the Imperfect Action live stream. Who am I? Well, I am Rob Fenstermaker, a former corporate burnout survivor turned your kingdom builder. What do? I get people out of the rut and start getting in action and with their lives, because you stay in that rut for too long. You know what? That's not a good place to be. It's the only difference between a rut and a grades of steps and its dimensions. You do not want to remain in that rut for too long. I get you out of it. Hey, a couple things going on this week. This Friday is the virtual Friday whiskey hour. If you've never attended the virtual Friday whiskey hour, hey, stop by and check it out. You know, some people said, I don't drink whiskey. You know what? There's no requirement to drink whiskey. We just have an interesting conversation. Last conversation we had when we met 2 weeks ago was the good, the bad, and the ugly of our future and with AI. And there is some good, there's going to be some bad, there is going to be some ugly with that. Next Tuesday, I host the Iron Sharpens Iron community, Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Go ahead and stop by. This is a community I'm trying to create where we bring people together and share life. But enough of that, enough of that. It is time for the Imperfect Action live stream. And let me introduce my special guest today, Orly Amor. Orly is a successful entrepreneur, has started 5 companies. She's a best-selling author. I hope one day to be an author. Yeah, I keep telling myself, but you've done it. You're there. And she has helped over 200,000 people around the world maximize their bottom line. She's also a certified behavior analyst. Orly, thank you for stopping by the Imperfect Action live stream.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
we met probably, I'm going to say we met a little bit over a year ago, just on doing some virtual networking. Doing I go to several
Right,
different virtual networking events, and as do
right.
you. And that's where we first met. And we had the opportunity to actually meet in person. What, about two
Yeah,
months ago up in Orlando?
right. Yes, I was really
Yes,
happy. March. It
yeah, it
was in
is.
March. Yeah.
It was in March. Yes, it was in March. And so, yeah, there's a few people that I've met online that I've had the opportunity to meet, and it's always fun to meet
Isn't that
people.
cool? Yeah.
It is cool because yeah, it's always fun to do that. So
Mhm.
so Orly, I love your story. I love what you do, and how would you describe to as to exactly what it is you do?
You're so sweet. Thank you so much. Well, it's good that you're asking me to actually say it, because some people, when they introduce me, they say I'm a speaking coach, and I'm not. I am
Yeah.
a business coach for public speakers, and the only reason, and the only one in the world that I'm the only one in the world that guarantees they'll make 150K their first year in public speaking, or I work with them until they do. It's public speaking
Hmm.
from public speaking, getting paid to speak.
Yeah. Now you shared with me you've done quite a few public speaking events yourself,
Mhm.
and you just kind of got off. But you said, was over 5,000 events you've done through your life?
Yeah, about, yeah, more than 5,000, but we stopped counting. I mean, yeah, in 27 years, this June I've been speaking for 27 years full time. So
Okay.
that tells you, and that's besides my coaching and so on, but yeah, I've been speaking for 27 years. Wow. I you know,
27 years. So
yeah.
that first time you went on stage, how would you compare that to when you go on stage right now?
Well, In the beginning, when I went on stage, and a lot of people say there's a fear of public speaking. In the beginning, my legs used to shake so bad. I thought everybody saw it. It was like leaves shaking in the wind,
Yeah.
and and I thought my pants was moving. I thought literally that people can see it, but the butterflies in my belly. I thought I was that it made my voice crack. I thought
Yeah.
that was my inner voice saying, okay, you look
Yeah.
stupid right now. It was really bad.
Yeah.
But I got over it. I joined Toastmasters to help me get
Yeah.
over that hump and to get rid of some of my usership of the stage and so on. And with time, you get better and better at it. The difference between then and now is that I still get the butterflies. I still
I
have my
know.
legs shake, but I know how to handle it and how to connect with the audience and use that energy differently.
Yeah, I do Toastmasters. I've done Toastmasters for about 4 years, and I've done some. Excuse me. I've done some public speaking myself. And
Hmm.
the one thing I've learned when I first started doing it, I would try and write out everything. Just try and write it out and kind of put the paper there on on the podium and just try and read it verbatim. And I'm like, all right, that no, 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 no.
It's not you.
So no, yeah, that's not me. So now I'm trying to get to that point where I just give myself a couple bullet points, 2 to 3 bullet points, and then just speak.
Mhm.
And it seems to flow a lot better because you know what you know. And
Mhm.
I like to say we're all experts in something because we're all an expert in who we are. We're all an expert in ourselves. And sometimes you just got to let that expertise just go out. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
but I've heard people say the fear of public speaking is the number one fear that most people have. Why do you think that is?
Because first of all, I love that you said that because it's not the fear of public speaking. The actual fear, the core fear is of humiliation.
Ah, okay.
Making
Yeah,
a mistake, sucking on stage, being judged, being scrutinized, being, all of the things that we don't like about, people. People like to judge people, they judge,
yeah,
they don't judge a book by its cover. But yeah, but I'm exposed, I'm on stage, I'm in front of all these
yeah,
people. What do they think of me? And you know what?
yeah,
When you get over that, when you just say, you know what, it's about my message, and those who are here to hear it will hear it, and they need to
yeah.
hear it. When the student is ready, the teacher will come. In the act of
Right.
sharing, there's contribution. You just never know whose life you're going to change.
Yeah. What's that feeling you have when you know you have just crushed it and you're walking off the stage? What's that feeling that you have?
Well, when I get off on stage, I mean, when I'm on stage already, I get that high, right? I
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
people's faces. I can see them light up. I can see them sitting at the edge of their seat. I can see that I'm making an impact. When I get off the stage, I don't have a high about me. I have a high about them because they come to me and they hug me or give me high fives or ask me a
yeah,
question. I know I've lit something inside of them. That's what I live off. It's that change that I made in people. It's about the impact that I've made. Me being good, bad, uneven, whatever, never crosses my mind. If I was good, I
yeah,
was good. If I was not good, I was not good. It's about who did I impact? Did I make an
yeah,
impact? Did I make a change? Did I
yeah,
strike somebody's chord that says, oh wow, you know what I mean? I need to do something about this, or I need to do something about my life, or I need to change something in my habits or whatever that may be.
So if somebody wants to get into public speaking, I mean, do they need to have, 3 or 4 pocket speeches that they can give or uh,
I love that question because many people get into their own head, right? I mean, oh, I better have
yeah,
some speeches before I go out there. The only people that know that you're just starting out or that you don't have it together yet is you. So the only thing you
true,
need to do
true.
is walk confidently in your own skin and say, you know what? I'm going to change someone's life today.
Yeah,
And the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. As a public speaker, I don't go into Publix and start speaking to everybody that's at the cash counter. Like I don't do that. But I'll tell you this, I am nice to people. I give
yeah,
them my spot. I'll pay for somebody's groceries. I've done a lot of things that
okay,
make me stand out, and I get high on that. I get high on but for myself, I do not say, oh, you know what I did today? I paid somebody Starbucks today. Nope, I just do it. And that's the good feeling that makes me feel like I'm making a contribution to this society, to the
Yeah,
humanity, to whatever it is. And that's what it is for me. I don't think that being new to public speaking, nobody knows that. So just walk in your skin as confident as you can, because if we're still here, God has a plan for us, and that's what I believe.
absolutely. I agree. Yeah, as I say, as long as we're on this side of the dirt, you got to do something with your life. And you know how you said what you said there to me. It's living life out of abundance because I absolutely believe when you allow life to flow into you and flow out and flow into others, what returns to you is tenfold. And you know, you mentioned God. To me, that's backed up by the Bible. It says
Yeah,
it. It says it very clearly to me in the Bible.
yeah,
You know, abundance is the way to live because it's so much more. It's so much more fun to live a life that way. You're living life to the fullest.
yes,
And when you live life, when you want to live a life of scarcity, one, you're not fun to be around. You're really not fun to be around. But you know, I try and be intentional about the people I want to hang around, the people I want in my life, and those people that live out of abundance. Hey, I'm there with you. I want to be that person in your life, and those are the people I look toward.
I live around people who are happy. I like to be happy. I'm happy all the time. So I tell people
Yeah,
I'm not taking any drugs or alcohol or anything like that. I get high on life, you know? Like people always ask me, "You're always in a bubbly mood. Like what's wrong with you?" And I'm like,
yeah,
"Nothing. Life is good. Every day above ground is a good day."
yeah. It is. It is. And you know, it's like I went to the coffee shop this morning. You know, I live in South Florida. You know that my wife and I were up in Ohio for a couple of weeks for work and family. So I dropped her off at her office, and I just kind of went to the coffee shop, and everybody in there just wasn't. It just seemed like everybody was just locked in, and it
They
just
didn't get
the
their
people
coffee
weren't
yet.
nice. Yeah, they didn't have their coffee yet, but you know, it just seemed like people weren't friendly, and I was a little taken back by that
Hmm.
because you go to different parts of the world, and you know, people could. It's just how people interact, and you know,
Yeah.
it just seemed odd to me today. You know, and I've lived in this area. You know, I spent the majority of my life living in this area, and I've been away for a couple of years, and it was just it's just a little bit different. I just kind of saw in a different light, just on a
Mm.
little bit different light. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was just me today. I don't know. But yeah,
No,
I'm
you're
trying to
right.
make
You know,
time
I
for.
mean, but you meet those
Yeah,
people every day. And
what
if
you
you
do?
smile at them, they'll smile back, you know, or
Yeah,
they'll think you're crazy, but that's okay. I smile at people, and, that's what I do. I just smile at people, or I say good morning. I open the door
yeah,
for people. I'm like, here you go. And some of
yeah.
them don't even say thank you. They'll walk right by me. I open the
There
door
might
for them,
go.
specifically
Yeah,
made a point to show them that
yeah,
I'm a good person, and they don't even say thank you. Hey, you know what? You don't know what people are going through, and that's why I don't judge, right?
yeah. You're right. You're
I,
right.
I
You're
don't
right.
judge
Because
because I
we
don't know
don't.
what people are going through. Everybody's going through
I agree.
something. Everybody
I
has a
agree. I
challenge in
agree.
their life. You don't know what they're
Yeah,
going through. You
I
know,
agree.
they might have a death in the family. They might have lost their
Mhm.
job. They might something, and whatever that is, it doesn't. They might have had a fight with their spouse just from before leaving the house. Their car broke down. Anything can happen, and that's why
Yeah,
I just don't judge that. I'm still good with people, and hey,
yeah.
if they want to share, God bless. You know.
God bless. Yeah. And the power of a smile. I always try and make eye contact with people. And, you know, the power of a smile can go a long way because, like you said,
Huge,
we never really know what's going on inside somebody's head.
huge.
And
I have a story about that.
I'm a firm believer that if you're going to ask somebody, you know, we always have that throwaway phrase, how's it going? If you're going to ask somebody, how's it going? You need to be prepared for an answer.
When people ask me how's it going, I'm like, do you have a few hours? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Because my father used to say that to me. God bless his soul. I used to say, Dad, how are you? He's like, why are you a doctor? You know, he used to like he made cracks that I still remember today.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's funny. Yeah. Like I said, you got to be prepared.
Yeah, but I have a story
Yeah,
about the power of the smile. Now we can
yeah,
give
it is.
powers. Yeah, it's a really
No,
good
but
story.
the power of a smile. I mean, because you know, first off, what's it cost you to just smile at somebody? What's it
Nothing.
cost? There's no cost to it, and it
Hmm.
just kind of gives that appearance of,
Yeah,
hey, you know what? I'm feeling good today, or
yeah.
whatever.
Wh-
And
When I lived in Florida, I lived for 10 years in Florida from 2002 to 2012. And I used to go to the gym, to LA Fitness. And
Mm.
every morning I used to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and this guy was there, and he looked pretty scary looking, right? I mean, he had all these tattoos and he was mean looking, like if he's a biker
Yeah.
or something, you know the look. And I know his name is Joe. So I used to get in the morning and I would say, "Good morning, Joe," and then walk and do my thing and then come back and walk by him and say, "Bye, Joe. See you tomorrow." Like every single day for months. Then I
Yeah.
moved away. No, I did not
Yeah.
move away. I'm sorry. I moved to another house. I moved to Tamarack. So what
Yeah.
happened was my girlfriend was visiting me from Israel, and I took her to the airport for her to fly out, and we put her luggage, and then we walked to get something to eat, whatever it was. And this guy who's TSA, at the luggage drop off, he said, "Do I know you?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." Right. And I thought, oh, and I actually made fun of him, and I said, "Yeah, good pickup line. I don't think so." Okay. So I thought it was that. But anyway, so we walk away, and we're like a mile away already, like walking, and it's a long corridor, and he runs right after us, and he runs, "Excuse me," and he runs, and he's like, "I do know you. You used to go to LA Fitness." And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm Joe. Do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Joe?" He's like, "Yeah, I never knew your name and I couldn't thank you, but I want you to know that you saved my life. I used to look forward
Wow.
every morning to seeing you and telling me good morning and goodbye, that you took the time
Yeah.
to actually say hello and goodbye to me every single day for months, made me want to stay on, and not kill myself." And that is a huge thing that you people, that's what I'm talking about. We don't know what people are going through. So it's important for us to be nice and courteous, and that's it, even if it's a stranger. He was a stranger, but I
Yeah.
only knew his name because of other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Now this is I have here the 12 powers we hold within. This is one of your books. You've written
Yeah.
several books. This
Yes.
the title of this one intrigued me. This is very much intrigued me.
Right.
So we all have those. I always like to hear people say, "Well, what's your superpower?"
Right.
I mean,
But this is
you
not
got
about the superpowers.
yeah.
This is about your inherent powers.
Okay.
So we've all been through something, right? So
Hmm.
we have what is called the power of to bounce back. The power
Hmm.
to bounce back is something we already inherently have. When we
Yeah.
fell on the floor, we got up. That's the power to bounce back. When we
Yeah.
got into a fight with our brother or sister, we forgave and gave up, and then we're brother and sister again. And so it's a power to bounce back. We lost our job, we got another job. That's the power to bounce back. There's so many things
Yeah.
in life. We broke up with our girlfriends, or somebody broke up with us. We were scattered and devastated from some of these things that happened to us, but here we are. Here we have the power to bounce back. There's also the power of determination. We decided at one point in our life that we are going to do what we are meant to do, and do what we feel like we need to do. It's like when
Right.
people tell us, "Oh, you're not good at this, you're not good at that, maybe you shouldn't," whatever, and we are determined to prove them wrong. That's the power of determination. We all have that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there are
I
some
like it.
inherent powers, and that book talks
Yeah.
about my story and why the powers in ourself is what helps us get through the day. We may use many of the powers inside that book every single day.
Yeah.
The
That's cool.
power
That's
of
cool.
happiness, the power of gratitude, the power of joy. We have that in us as children. We just forgot the child
Yeah.
within us.
Yeah.
There's
The
some.
power of gratitude, that is so powerful. I've done this every now and then. I probably need to be a little more diligent with it than what I am. But I used to have a gratitude journal. I had one of my pastors at church challenge me years ago, start creating a gratitude journal. I'm like, okay,
Mm,
I'll do it. If you put me up to a challenge, I'll do it. And how I would challenge myself with it is at the end of each day, I would write 3 gratitudes.
cool.
But the next day, I couldn't be the same gratitudes. I had to
Mm,
come up with something new. And so I did, would do this for 30 days. And so, 30 times 3, there's 90. There's 90 things I could express gratitude for. And when you really start exploring those things you're grateful for, that you have gratitude towards, it changes your perspective on life. It changes how you view life. You view life in a different way. You don't make it you don't view life as transactional. because that's that scarcity mindset. You view life as how you can serve, how you can make a difference, that abundance mindset.
Yeah. I wrote a book called, and I didn't publish it yet, but it's it's a thousand things to be grateful for. So it's a
Okay.
thousand things, right?
1,000. Yeah.
Yes. So I give a program, I certify coaches in mindset mastery. And one of the things that I ask them to do is 100 things to be grateful for every single day. But here's the
Yeah.
caveat. They can actually be grateful for the same things every single day. They literally
Yeah.
can copy the list from yesterday to today. Now,
Right.
Rob, if you just think about your body parts that you take for
Mhm.
granted, there's more than 60, right? If I'm thankful for my
Yeah.
hair, for my forehead, for my eyebrows, for my eyes, for my ability to see, hear, etc. I mean, we can go on, but there's at least 16 plus. So to
Yeah.
get them to 60 is easy, right? If they just
Yeah.
think about their body parts. But here's the caveat in writing a gratitude list is actually feeling grateful. The feeling of
Yeah.
gratitude is much more important than what you are grateful for. And the bliss of feeling grateful is when you feel like crying. It's feeling like crying. You don't have to cry, but you have
Mhm.
that feeling like you're about to. And that's
Yeah.
real gratitude. That's the God within. That is so
Yeah.
beautiful. But they have to do it for as many of those things that they're grateful for. So in the beginning, they might be grateful for 5 out of the 100.
Yeah.
Maybe after that, it'll grow on them and they'll do 10 and 20 and 30 and 40. But the more they do it, the better it is. And that's the way that the law of attraction works, is that the great gratitude feeling is what brings about more of the same thing. And that's what's cool about it. So, yeah, I love the fact that you spoke about the list of gratitude. I do my gratitude list every single day, and I never, ever wavered for the past 20 years or so.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get back. I say I go with phases with it. I mean, I've journaled for years. I love
Right.
to journal. I've done that for
Yes.
years.
Yes.
But the gratitude journal that I kept was a little bit different. And I would do it at the end of the day before I go to bed. One, because when you go to bed with that feeling of gratitude, one, you sleep better
Right.
instead of being all angry or something, or you
Sure.
watch the
Sure.
news. You watch the news, you're going to get angry. Don't watch the
No,
news
I
before you
know.
go
I
to bed.
don't watch the
I
news.
don't even watch the news period anymore because it's just the same
Right.
stuff. But you
Right.
turn on the news and try to go to bed, you're just going to be angry because
Yeah.
that's what they want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
But doing those things to wind down your day, because it just yeah, like I said, it just gives me a different perspective on life. It helps me to understand how I can live my life to make a difference, how I can live my life to make an impact. And yeah, it gets me focused on those things I want to do, to
Right.
change the world. And because I
Yeah.
absolutely believe we can change the world. I
Oh, yeah.
absolutely believe we all have it within us to change the world. Maybe not on the
Right.
macro, we can certainly do it on the micro level. We can
Mm-hmm.
certainly change our world. We can change the world of those we have connection with,
Right.
100% each and every day.
Absolutely.
And it kind of took me down the opportunity to do a few different things of how I could change the world. And I know for a fact I changed some people's world, people I'm never going to meet. One of the things that I did, when I kind of got in that space, is I started a small little foundation where we were building freshwater wells in third world villages. I'm never
Awesome.
going to meet these people, but I'm
No,
giving them the opportunity to, places where they never had running water. Now they've got water. And we
that is
take that for
amazing.
granted.
That's
We can
amazing.
take something like that for granted here in the States.
For sure.
But for villages in Africa and Asia where we were putting this stuff, that's something they didn't have.
That's
They'd have to
amazing.
walk to the river to get water.
Right. Right.
And I know you do some things that make a difference in this world,
Yes.
in the way you serve. Share some of that. Share some of what you do.
So I have a nonprofit called youaremylight.org.
Hmm.
Yourare, my light light
Hmm.
org. If you want to visit that website, we are building healing centers for rescued victims of human trafficking, sex and labor, slavery, so that we can
Yeah.
give them back their God-given right to life, freedom, education, and autonomy. So we're basically after the rescue. It's not about
Yeah.
information. It's not about awareness anymore. There's a lot of people that are awakened now to the reality of this devastating trafficking or crime, if you will. It's one of the largest
Mhm.
crimes in our country and in the
Yeah.
world. and it's $150 billion industry, as well
Hmm.
as now it's probably doubled because the cartels are getting into it. Why move the
Yeah.
trafficking, trafficking of drugs? They don't have to do much of that anymore. They can just traffic people, and
Yeah.
trafficking people is just keeping them in one area and enslaving them. So when the expats or ex CIA agents, ex FBI agents, ex missionaries are rescuing them, they don't have where to bring them, and they don't have also the places where they do bring them to, like shelters or or the foster care. They don't have the ability to treat these people. They're
Yeah.
children, they're young children, they're also adults. It goes between the ages
Mhm.
of baby to 30 years old, because some of them
Yeah.
were taken when they were maybe 5 6 years old, but now they are rescued and they're 16 18 years old, and they don't have a life. They've missed their whole childhood, their whole
Yeah.
education. So the goal is to now maybe retrain them, treat them first, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and give them a sense of purpose and teach them how to be entrepreneurs where they'll never get exploited again.
Yeah. I mean, it's modern day slavery is what it is.
It is.
And and I really first became aware of it, probably 15 years ago. And I went to it was an event I went to, and there were different speakers, and you could pick and choose which ones you wanted to go to. And I just saw this one, human trafficking. All right, let me go check this out. And and they shared the statistics of what was going on. And yeah, we hear human trafficking, we think sex trafficking, and that's a big part of it, but there's other parts of it as well.
Of
You also got the
course.
labor trafficking. And it really opened my eyes, and especially at that point I lived in central Ohio, and it was told to me that in Ohio, especially in Toledo, that was probably one of the worst places in the country
Hmm.
for it, because part of the problem with Toledo is you had some major highways going there, and they use that interstate highway system to traffic people.
Absolutely.
And I was like,
Absolutely.
goodness,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's really opened
absolutely.
my eyes to how scary it can be.
Hmm.
And so yeah, and it's just more than and yeah, and I don't want to minimize it, but yeah, it opened my eyes, and I think a lot of people, maybe they know about it, but they just kind of want to stick their head in the sand, and maybe. But if you see something, you got to speak up. You definitely have to speak
I
up.
agree.
Um, and so I think that's what's important. If you see something that just doesn't seem right,
Right.
let me ask you this: so if somebody sees something that it doesn't seem right, who would they go to? Should they go to the police? Should they go
Yeah,
to
they should go to the police. And there's also hotlines for human trafficking. There, you gotta go to the police. You gotta go to the police, and you just gotta get
Yeah,
one person's attention. Like really, you gotta get their attention. Say, hey, you know what? I'm seeing this happening, and we need to interfere. And there's so many videos on interfering. Not do not take it upon yourself to attack or anything like that, but watch out. And for single women, watch your cars, watch where you're walking, stop being on your phone and just oblivious to what's going on around
yes,
you. It's more about awareness about where we are and what we're doing, talking to our children. Not think, it's not enough not to talk to strangers anymore. You got to watch your environment. You got to see where you're walking. And if you're alone, you got to watch out and ask for an adult. Go knock on somebody's door. Like literally, there's many people that have avoided this kind of catastrophe by being aware of their surroundings. So there's more
yeah,
to it than what we're thinking.
right.
And it's
Yeah, I
happening
just call
right
it
in our
that.
backyard.
I agree. I agree. I just call it to have that situational awareness. I mean, when you go walking, especially you go someplace and you see these kids and they just got their phone like this and they're staring at their phone, and it's like, well, first off, just be cognizant of where you're at, because and
Absolutely. Nothing is so
just have
pressing that you need to text and call, but you need to be aware of what's going on around you, who's walking around you. There was this little boy that he felt that this woman was actually walking behind him and following him. And then he decided to get into the store where he went to the clerk and he said, can you act like you're my mother or something? Because I think that lady is looking to kidnap me. And can you
yeah,
believe how much awareness this boy had? And then, so the
yeah,
girl was very, very nice and just went to the door and locked the door. and then
Mm,
the lady went away. But
yeah.
that girl saved this boy's life, you know. He might
Yeah.
have been 10, you know, and 10 years old, they're easy to, you know, they're walking the street, they're going to school, and they know how to take the bus, they know how to do certain things and have the confidence to go do it alone. But we got to keep them involved in their awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, have you ever had an opportunity to speak about human trafficking? I'm assuming you
Oh yeah,
have.
for sure. I do this all over the country. I did a whole country tour for my my foundation. We did a gala in Dallas, Texas, but before getting to Dallas, I traveled from New York to Ohio to
Hmm.
Minnesota and Indiana, and I don't know if it's in the right order, but then also all the way to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and then went all the way to New Mexico, and then to California, and all the way down and across from also Arizona and then to Dallas, where we did the event. But this was
Okay.
all about awareness. And I spoke also in North Carolina and South Carolina, because that's really also where you talk about those highways. They're
Yeah.
crossing right there as well, you know. And yeah,
Okay.
and now in Florida.
Now in Florida. All right. Yes, Florida. Yes. My wife and I, we've been in Florida just a little bit over 2 years, and I
Mhm.
always tell my friends, I always tell our friends that we moved here. I say it's one thing to visit Florida, it's a whole nother thing to live in Florida. But I love Florida. I have
I
gotten
love
used to
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah,
And like I said, we're up in Ohio right now, and other than being really hot down there right now, it is hot.
it's hot.
I'm keeping an eye on the weather. It is hot. I call it right now. This is the time of year I call it swamp ass weather because you just
It
what
is
it
hot.
is. It is, but it's one of those things you get used to. People say, "Oh, yeah, you get used to it." I guess.
I get used to
Um,
it.
you
Yeah,
just get
I'm
used
opposite
to it.
of my husband. I love the hot and he likes the cold,
Yeah,
but he loves it here in Florida. It's so beautiful. It's
yeah,
so peaceful. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
We moved here from
yeah.
New
I
York
mean,
6 months ago. No, eight
yeah,
months ago. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I don't miss the sub-zero weather.
Nope.
The cold never would bother me too much. The snow, I kind of got used to it. I would always hate when we get the ice storms. Those are the ones I hated. I definitely do not miss the ice storms at all.
Yeah.
So you don't have to deal with that in Florida. Now you just have to deal with the occasional hurricane.
Hurricane or
And
yeah, tropical storms. Yeah, it's okay. You know what?
yeah,
It's all good.
yeah, and it's
People
all
still
good.
live here. Must be a good thing.
That's right.
There's
It's
always
worth it. It's worth it.
insurance.
Put it this way: we had lived in Florida for 6 months when Hurricane Ian came around, and as the
Oh,
crow flies, we were probably 25 miles from where that storm came ashore. So we
wow.
got to see that storm up close and personal.
Right.
And it was whatever. It's part of living there.
For
So you just got
sure.
to deal with
It's a
it,
part of it.
and it's
Absolutely.
part of it. It's just part of it. You get anomalies everywhere you're going to live. So
Exactly. Every place you're gonna live has its ups and downs, and you just
it
have to be
does.
okay with
Just
living them,
just
and
got to
that's
deal
it.
with it. Yeah,
Yep,
you just got to deal with it. Now,
absolutely.
if we can just do something about the Florida drivers. So
You're
we got to get
funny.
that one figured out. So
You're funny.
when you're right, you're right. I mean, it's just when you drive on, when I get on Interstate 75. If you're not going 85, people are blowing by you, and so I'll keep it between 80 and 85. And
I'll
when we
keep
got
it
to
at
Florida,
70. I don't care about when people
uh,
say, I'll stay on
no,
my
whatever.
right lane, and
You'll
that's it.
stay in there. Well, now that's what drives me nuts. You get somebody that does the 70. What's that supposed to speed limit? And they're in the left lane. You're like, come on. And then that's a bit. But when we got up to Ohio on Friday, we got on the highway, and I still had that Florida mindset. And I'm all of a sudden I'm looking, and I'm like, ooh, I'm doing 85. I can't. I know I can't do that in Ohio. So I
Yeah,
backed
it's a
way off.
felony in some
So
place. Yeah, it's a felony in some places,
oh,
right?
it's yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it
know,
took me.
because I got caught.
I can't remember the last time I got a speeding ticket, but yeah, if you're not doing 80 miles an hour or 85 on the highway, then yeah, your people are just going to blow right by you in Florida.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So we
all
got to
good.
get that one figured out. You know
Yeah.
what? We'll start a foundation to deal with the bad Florida drivers, Orly. That'll
I
be
don't
our
know that I
next
want to put
mission.
my efforts into that. I don't think there's a solution to it.
Because here's the
there's
problem with
there's no
Florida.
there's no hope for them.
There is no solution because here's the problem with Florida. It's just not people that have it's people coming from all over the world. That's the
Right.
thing.
Right.
And my wife and I, we get to Orlando quite a bit. You want to see bad drivers because you got people coming from all over the world in
All over
Orlando.
the world.
That is the worst place to try and drive is Orlando, Florida.
Absolutely. I can relate. That's why I'm laughing. And for people who don't know what that's like, if you ever are in Florida, just watch out for those people. And
Watch
then there's
out.
the
And you
people who
got
are older and, the older generation who want to
yeah,
not only drive slow, but they can't see above the
they
wheel.
can't see.
And you think that there's no driver. And you're thinking there's no driver in that car. It's so scary when you see that. And then you drive
yeah,
by and it's this little lady and you wonder, how can she see the hood? I don't think she can see. And so it's very scary. And they don't look at their mirrors. So when they drive out of their driveway, it's like they own the street. Boom, they just go out. They don't watch left or right? So many
yeah.
accidents happen like that.
Yeah. The other thing I figured out driving in Florida is I got to watch for the guys driving the white pickup trucks. I don't
Mm.
know what it is with a white pickup truck in Florida, but I have gotten my share of one-fingered salutes from those guys in white pickup trucks.
Oh no.
So
That's
that's our
funny.
solution. We're
That's
going to
funny.
start this foundation to deal with bad Florida drivers, and we will address the guys in the white pickup trucks.
That is funny. That's funny.
So, but like I said, I like have my fun with Florida. We have Florida Man.
Right.
I've yet to meet Florida Man. I keep seeing all these stories. I want to meet Florida Man someday.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
You never seen Florida Man. Just look on every news story that they talk, and it always starts with a Florida man did whatever. That's how it seems like every bad
I
news
never
story
heard
starts
that.
with
That's
a
funny.
Florida man. So I want to meet Florida Man.
Oh my goodness. That's funny.
And then the other thing we had to get used to were the snakes. Now snakes don't bother me,
Oh,
but my
snakes,
wife, she no 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 no
lizards.
no. They get in the garage and then
They
she sees a
do.
snake in the garage. She comes running in. I'm just like, all right, let me get it out. I'm not going to kill a snake just because
Oh,
I've heard it
they're
killing
a
a
part
snake
of
is
the
bad luck.
ecosystem, they're a part of the
Yeah,
ecosystem.
they're
You
part of
cannot.
it. Yeah, and the thing
We're
they
in their
do is they
land.
eat they eat the other things I don't want getting in my house. They eat the
Exactly.
rats
The
and the mice.
lizards and all that. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
The
The
lizard,
palmetto
the
bugs.
lizards, the lizards I'll get them to get in my house occasionally. So, and
Yeah,
I've
but they're
actually,
harmless.
they're actually pretty easy to catch when they get in the house.
And
I
then
can
there's the
grab them and just
frogs,
throw them outside.
and there's frogs and palmetto bugs that you don't know about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen them. There's an
I've seen
epidemic
the
of
palmetto
frogs.
bugs
Yeah.
and the
Oh gosh,
no-see-ums.
my husband
The
has not yet.
no-see-ums, the no-see-ums eat my wife alive. So,
Oh gosh, yes.
she's just very allergic to bug bites. So
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Me too.
The
Um,
other thing we're dealing with right now, we back up to a preserve where we live. The wild hogs are coming in, and yes, so
really?
we get the wild, yes,
And we have the
wild
love
hog,
bugs in the Orlando
love
area.
bugs,
There is the love
yes,
bugs. It's a pandemic for about 2 weeks, and it's like you don't open your mouth because you're gonna swallow a couple.
yeah,
It's like really bad,
yeah,
and then they go away. It's
they go
amazing.
away,
It's a phenomenon.
yeah, yeah. I was running, I wasn't running, I was riding my bike last week, and one flew right in my mouth, went right to the back of my throat, and I'm like, oh my, and it's like, good grief,
That's funny.
yes, yes.
Cool.
So, so getting back to let's get back on track here. Like I
Yeah, here
said,
we go. The imperfect action. That's really like you
this is the
literally.
imperfect action live stream. I
Yeah,
call it that for a
absolutely. And
reason.
there you go.
So we kind of got a little off
So
the
are we
rails there.
live right now, or are we live streaming, or are we live recording?
We are live streaming. We are live streaming. Yes, we are live
I'm
streaming
not I'm
to.
not familiar with StreamYard very well, so I don't know. I didn't know we were live.
We are live. We are live on
Hi
LinkedIn, Facebook,
everybody.
and YouTube. So there you go. Um,
Awesome. Awesome.
so I know you guarantee people can make what is $150,000 a year
Yeah,
in
in
public
1 year, or
speaking
I work with them until they do. Yes.
till they do.
Yep.
Um, my question: how do we make $150,000 a year in public speaking?
Great question. So let's start with the first answer is how do I guarantee it, right? So I want to ask you a question. If I guarantee
Yes.
you a job at McDonald's, literally, can I guarantee they'll pay you at least minimum wage when you get hired? If you get more, great. But can I guarantee they'll pay you minimum wage? And the answer is
Absolutely.
yes, it's the law. I have to pay you at
Yeah.
least minimum wage, right?
Right.
Therefore, I can guarantee you'll make minimum wage in public speaking, which is 150K a year. And I'll
Okay.
work with you until you do. Now, let's
Yeah.
say you decide that you only want to work 10 months out of the year. Okay. This
Hmm.
is for the argument's sake, right? And 150K, that means you would need to speak at least 60 times at $2,500 a pop, right?
Okay.
A gig. And
Right.
that would mean 6 events a month. Six times
Right.
10 is 60. 60 times 200, 2,500 is 150K, which is pretty
Right.
easy to do. And then if we decided that you want to charge $5,000 for a gig and you did 30 for those 10 months, which is three a month, that would be 150K. If you did 20, that's two a month for $7,000, that's 150K. And if you did
Yeah.
15 at a $10,000 level, then that's 150K in 10 months.
Yeah.
So I would say that it would take you maybe a month or so to get into the groove of getting paid speaking gigs. But once you get started to get paid, then we need to track the numbers and we can get you to 150K. By the way, 150K is minimum wage in public speaking.
Yeah.
I lived in New York. You can't live for 150K a year. You understand?
Yeah.
You understand that, right? So when I say this, it's not to say to people, oh, 150K is nothing. No, it's something for some people because
Yeah.
most speakers, coaches, authors are making less than $70,000 a year. So
Yeah.
they're literally below the poverty level. And we need to
Yeah.
change that.
Okay. So what,
There are
what's the average what's the average rate that for somebody to get paid for a speech?
There's no
To do public.
average. It's where do
Yeah.
you stand in this industry? Your price
Okay.
point, it depends on where you are in your that's why I gave you my calendar link because people who don't know where they fit into this industry need to get on a call with me because it's a conversation. But what I want to say
Yes.
by that is in this industry, there's a need for speakers. Right now, we are 1 million speakers short in the world, and we are 1
Mm.
million coaches short in the world. And
Mm.
that's not according to Orly. This is according to the brokerage firms of speakers and coaches around the world who are sharing
Yeah.
this information. There are 64,000 events per day in America alone, Canada and the United States, that pay
Yeah.
speakers.
Okay.
There's no shortage of or lack. You talked about lack mentality. It's an abundance mentality. There's so many
Yes.
opportunities.
Yeah. And so there will be opportunity to do these both live and virtual. You don't have to
Absolutely. And
do
you
all
can
the.
get paid
Yeah.
virtually too. You can get paid virtually. A lot of people say to me, well, should I charge less for virtual speaking gigs? And I said, do you give less value? And they said, no. And I said, then you need to charge the same. You're giving the same content. Why would you be charging less? They're saving money by not paying your expenses. Not a bad thing, right?
Right.
So there is no shortage of opportunity right now. It's the most beautiful place to be right now in this industry of public speaking and coaching because we're missing a million coaches and a million speakers in the world.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So you got something, you got an event coming up you shared with me. The Speakers
Yes,
Cruise. This sounds
the
exciting.
Speakers Cruise. I'm so excited. So in 2012, I started something called the Social Wow Factor. It was a Speakers
Yeah.
Cruise as well. And we did that every year until the pandemic hit. And then pandemic hit and we had to cancel that year because there was no way to do it. And now we're coming back by popular demand. Social Wow Factor, the Speakers Cruise is coming up September 22nd to the 29th. We are leaving from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we're going to Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, and we are going to have 3 days of conference on the ship where if you're a speaker, author, or coach, you should be, or an entrepreneur that wants to get their message to the masses, you will be able to speak from 6 to at least 20 times during the whole conference. And you will be caught on camera. So if you ever wanted to do your scissor reel or anything like that, You can, and you will get feedback. You will get testimonials from people who are in the audience. We're expecting between 50 and 100 people. Right now, we have about 25 cabins sold, so we need to get to 50 cabins. There you go. So you have an
What's the what
opportunity. Yeah.
what's the cost? What's the cost?
The cost of the cruise, you call Royal Caribbean and you give them our group number. So it gives you a good rate. It's $875 per person. So you can get a
Okay.
friend, or get a couple of friends and get a bigger cabin and whatever. But the conference itself will only cost you $297. And that's because we have a hard cost. We have
Yeah.
t-shirts for everybody and we have other things for everybody. And, you will get to share the stage with some world-renowned speakers, including myself. Yay, if I can say so myself. And also, you will also be right off the cruise. You will be known and have a status of international speaker,
There you
which is
go.
huge.
Mm, that's
It's
right. Because
huge
you're
to be
speaking
able.
internationally. You're
That's
speaking
right. You're speaking
internationally.
internationally. You're on
There you
international
go.
water giving a talk. That is not a lie. You are an international speaker by being on the cruise. And it's also a great way to bring your family along for the ride and spending time
Yeah.
with family and making it a vacation and a workcation and make it tax deductible. How cool is that?
There you go. Tax deductible. We all love that. We gotta love
Absolutely.
tax deductible.
Yes,
So, all right, this sounds like a fun event. You got me excited
it
now. You
is.
got me
It's so much
excited for
fun.
this. I've only been on one cruise in my life, and you know
Okay.
what? And um, I mean, against cruising, I just never really have done it. And you
I
got me
love it.
excited about this. Yeah, that's
I love
cool.
it. I
That's
just did
cool.
a world tour on cruise ships. I loved it. That was
Really?
trip of
Okay.
a lifetime. It was trip of a
Yeah.
lifetime. Yes.
Huh.
We flew from
Interesting. Yeah.
Orlando to Australia, and then we took a cruise from Australia to New Zealand, to the Polynesian Islands, to Hawaii, and then all the way to Vancouver. That was all in all 27 days
This
on a
was
cruise.
this. So once you got to Australia, you got back to the States on a cruise ship. Just so I'm understanding what you just said.
Well, yeah, practically because we got off the ship a couple of times, right? So
Right.
in Australia, we were there for 5 days before we got on a ship. And then we were 27 days on a cruise ship. Yes, all the way to
Goodness.
British Columbia. We stayed in British Columbia, Vancouver for about 3 days. And when we got back on a cruise ship to go to Alaska. So we went to the glacier
Yeah.
and we did all of that. And then we came back to Vancouver and then we just took a train to Seattle because I was speaking in Seattle. And then from there, we just took a plane home. And we just got back yesterday.
Dang. That
Yeah,
sounds like an adventure of a lifetime.
it was. It
Uh,
was
it
55
was
days of an adventure. It was so amazing.
55 days. Goodness. Yeah.
55
All right.
days, but I still spoke virtually. I spoke virtually. I did my own webinars and I spoke virtually to some groups. And I also spoke live in
Yeah.
Seattle. And so all this happens when you're having fun.
It does. It
Yeah.
does.
So I planned the whole
Hey,
thing. It was great.
and you know what else is happening virtually? The virtual Friday whiskey hour is coming up this
Woohoo!
Friday at 5 o'clock Eastern time. Stop by and check this out. Like I said, just
For
enjoying the
sure.
conversation. I don't know what we're going to talk about today. On this coming Friday, I'll get it figured out. But
Right.
I always just try and do the conversation. You know what? You too can appear as a guest on the Imperfect Action live stream if that's what you want to do. All you need to do is go to my Calendly link and go ahead and schedule your time and date of when you want to appear, and we can have that imperfect conversation.
I love it. I love it.
Eh,
This has been
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. And you know what? I would love to have that conversation with you as well, because, sometimes you need to get out of the rut. And that's what I do. I get you out of the rut. You can go ahead and reach me direct at rob@robfenstemaker.com, or you can go ahead and schedule if your discovery call with me, go to my Calendly link. We can do that. We can get you out of the rut, get you into action, and start living that dream life that you thought was not possible, because that dream is what will make a difference in your life. You need to start making it your reality. And that's what I do. I
Absolutely.
want to see those dreams become your reality. Um,
Absolutely.
so, Orly, I really enjoyed this conversation. I know you
Me
got
too.
something coming up here. Do you have any parting words before we go ahead and end this Imperfect Action live stream?
I love your work. Thank you so much for having me. I love to leave people with my tagline, which is if you have a message, somebody is willing to pay for it. And you don't want to be here next year and say, I should have started a year ago. So I don't want you to
Right.
regret anything. Make sure that whatever it is you're going through, know that there are people along the way that can help you, like Rob, myself, in other
Absolutely.
modalities. And just don't keep yourself stuck in a rut, and live your
Yeah.
life. Don't.
Yeah. And quit wasting, our time is our most valuable asset.
Mm,
And it is, and
yeah,
because it's the one thing we're never going to get it back. We can lose all our money, we can get it back. We can lose all our property, we can get it back. We can even lose our life and get our life back. But once time's gone, it's gone forever. There's no getting that back.
correct.
So it's our most
Correct.
valuable asset. So if you're
Um,
thinking about it, you got to do something. Just do
absolutely.
something. If you want to be a public speaker, get on Orly's calendar. She'll show you the
Take
ropes and she'll get
action.
you there. Just action. Take the action.
Take
If you need to
action.
get out of that rut, get on my calendar and we'll have that
Yes,
conversation.
for
So,
sure.
but Orly, I have really enjoyed this conversation. I thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
doing that. We will get that business started to make Florida drivers better. It's got to happen. It's got to happen sooner than later. We'll get that into action.
Yeah, I
We'll
think we
do
just
it. It's going
give
to
them
get done.
driving
But you know
classes.
what? It may be a fruitless effort. I don't know. I don't think we can ever solve that dilemma, but we'll
Me
get there at
neither.
some point. But Orly, I've really appreciated this.
Same here.
Another Imperfect Action live stream in the books. People, peace out.
Peace out.